It's the United States versus Great Britain. Toby the Bachmann engine versus Toby the Hornby engine. Which of these top-rated toy trains in the USA and UK will win in a series of tests on style, strength and sheer power? In the last video, we saw the price and quality of the two James models decide who came out on top. So who will win in this review? The Bachmann Toby quite clearly gets that squarish look of the character at a first glance. Hornby Toby, well, let's say he's rectangular. The Hornby Toby is severely oversized, to the extent that any comparisons to other Hornby and Bachmann models become laughable. Here is a Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway pug. And here is Toby. Here is a model of 4472 Flying Scotsman. And here is Toby. And here is an Owen 30 scale model of an American logging loco. And here is Toby. No matter what models the Hornby Toby is put up against, he is the literal elephant in the room, towering over the other engines. This can represent a problem, as the model is only just small enough to fit in the doorways of many of the Hornby Scaledale engine shed ranges. Toby was too big to fit under Copley Hill's roof, as seen here in this blooper. This height problem is further emphasised by Hornby Toby's lack of width to the same scale. Clearly, the model was made oversized deliberately, but when you compare its size to the Bachmann Toby, you can see which is the more manageable for the young modeller. The detailing on the Hornby model is crisply moulded, but extremely plain. The bell on the roof is a particular disappointment. The cow catchers and side plates have very little relief to them. If Hornby's aim was to replicate the models closer to the real engines, then Toby as a model can be considered a very poor one, its overall size, proportions and detail being significantly off compared to the prototype, the ex-London and North Eastern Railway J70 tram. The Bachmann model is still too large for a scale model of a J70 tram in either scale, but is closer to being a 00 scale model of the J70 tram than the Hornby one by quite some way. It is much smaller, more compact and generally gets the overall proportions and look spot on. The bell is better moulded on the roof and the chimney is exactly that, a chimney. The Hornby chimney is just a plastic cylinder, which looks a little ridiculous compared to that on the Bachmann model. The cow catchers on both had to be designed to fit a tension lock coupling, and while Hornby's cow catcher doesn't have the gaping hole of the Bachmann Toby, it is much plainer and not as well detailed as the Bachmann one, which manages to be closer to the real thing by incorporating the slight wraparound curve to the corners. It's a small detail that makes a lot of difference. Handrails are neatly moulded on both, but coloured differently. I prefer the brass colour of the Bachmann Toby myself. The number 7 is well printed on both models, though the red outline on the Bachmann model could do to be a little stronger. The faces are interesting. Hornby have painted their face in a cream colour, which matches that used for the roof, and it looks odd, especially with the eyeballs staying white. The Bachmann Toby is coloured in grey, and this looks much closer to the face seen in the television series. The shape of the faces is different too if you look carefully. As a result of the overall body being too tall, the Hornby Toby's face is much more rectangular than the Bachmann Toby's. It's absolutely no contest as far as I'm concerned. If you were to ask people which model looks more like Toby, they'd be stumped as both get the colours and basic shapes right. But delve a little more into the detail and proportions of each model, and aesthetically the Bachmann model gets the nod every single time, moving eye mechanism and all. Now we move on to the test of strength. Each model had to pull a train of coaches, the standard coach being used for this test, the ubiquitous Hornby Mark I coach. The weight of one Hornby Mark I coach is 5 ounces, roughly 140 grams. Hornby Toby weighed 4.2 ounces, approximately 120 grams, and Bachmann Toby weighed in at 3.8 ounces and 110 grams. At only 0.4 ounces different, I took another look under the models to see what their chassis was like. Both are weighty mechanisms for their size, but a clear difference in design choice was evident. The Bachmann Toby utilises what is effectively a motor power bogie, powering the outside wheels. The Hornby Toby uses coupling rods to power all three driving wheel sets. I took a closer look at this chassis and found something remarkable. Toby shares his chassis design with the Hornby Bill and Bend models. The chassis has been designed to take either an 040 or 060 configuration, with the telltale sign of being interchangeable, the attachment points for the bodywork on the rear and the motor at the front. After putting them back together, I tested the two models and counted the number of coaches each model could pull easily. It was not much of a contest, both models struggling with their respective loads. The Hornby Toby pulled 7 Mark 1s and no more. The Bachmann Toby model struggled with just 4 Mark 1s, making it the weakest model we have seen so far in this series. So the Hornby model wins for strength, but not by much, and to be frank, it's a hollow victory. The next test was the tug of war. The tug of war utilises a specially made double track line, where the two locos would pull and push against each other to see which was stronger. This track has been wired up to allow the models to run on 16 volts, together at the same time. The two models weigh almost the same, so it should be a close contest. The test proved inconclusive, however, as both models, as seen in the haulage test, were poor at pulling. It is interesting to note that the Hornby Toby, which pulled more coaches, now struggles against a powered load, the Bachmann Toby. Now for the final test, a test of speed. The time trial test consists of a race around the Copley Hill circuit, a generic train set oval. Each Toby will be timed speeding around the Copley Hill circuit, the winner putting in the fastest time. First up is the Hornby Toby, and he's away. Now for the Bachmann Toby, and he's away. Now for the times. The Bachmann Toby completed the circuit in an excruciating 14.3 seconds. The Hornby Toby did it in 6.8 seconds. So the current leaderboard is as follows. I have seen garden sheds move faster than the Bachmann Toby, but Hornby's Toby being faster than its James model is astounding. It doesn't look like anything is going to knock Percy off the top at this rate. We move on now to the recommended retail price of the two models for 2011. The recommended retail price for the Bachmann Toby is $55, which is £33.42. The recommended retail price for the Hornby Toby is £45, which comes out at $74.06. I'm staggered at the price of the Hornby Toby. In all, it's a very high price for a model which doesn't have many redeeming features. The Bachmann Toby, coming with a better overall shape and proportions, is a steal, particularly with its rather wonderfully sculpted face and eye mechanism. Until next time, thank you for watching. In the last video, Team Thomas took out James's Red Army. Now, can they continue their winning streak against a pair of garden sheds? But wait, who's this? It's a Topham hat with a copy of the rulebook. It turns out that garden sheds aren't eligible for the tug of war. Team Thomas wins! Once again, Team Thomas is number 1. Winner stays on, so next time we'll see Team Thomas take on the next set of challengers for the tug of war crown.